Okay, so something massive just went down just one day after Boogie2988 posted his terrible apology for faking cancer on Twitter, where he completely failed to take accountability and didn't admit to anything properly. He has now finally come clean about everything during a confrontation on the Lolcow Live Podcast with Keemstar, Destiny, and SomeOrdinaryGamers, which ended in a complete Boogie meltdown, and we are gonna take a look at the whole thing now. But just before we start, I just want to quickly mention that YouTube tells me that the majority of people watching this aren't actually subscribed to the channel, so if you enjoy my content, please subscribe, because I'm trying to hit 700 subs, so every single bit of support massively counts. If you are through some miracle not caught up on what's going on with the Boogie2988 situation, then I recommend you watch my previous video, because there was so much happening in today's Meltdown livestream that this video would be almost half an hour long if I recap the entire controversy in this video again. Okay, so we all remember how Boogie posted his big apology on Twitter a couple of days ago, and it was one of the fakest apologies I have ever seen in my entire life. Zero accountability was taken and a lot of manipulation was spread. In fact, his apology was so bad that it inspired me to make a video about it in the first place. Like, I wasn't even gonna talk about this whole situation, it was too irrelevant for me, but he managed to piss me off so much with his fake apology that I actually gave this guy some kind of attention, even though he's one of the biggest leeches and lolcows on the entire YouTube platform. Anyway, I didn't expect that anything of significance would happen after his apology. I figured he had enough brain cells left to just lay low and not talk about it, but apparently he didn't, which is why we are here today. So for some reason, Boogie agreed to go on a live stream with Keemstar, Destiny, and SomeOrdinaryGamers, who are all in the top 10 of Boogie's biggest critics on YouTube, by the way, and it turned into a complete meltdown. So essentially the whole reason for having this live stream was for the host Keemstar to decide whether or not he would kick Boogie off their podcast. Keemstar, WingsOfRedemption, Tommy C, and Boogie host a Lolcow Live Podcast together, where every week they compete for who can be the biggest scumbag on the internet, basically. And not gonna lie, Boogie has been crushing it recently, and essentially Keemstar was gonna make up his mind on whether or not he's gonna kick Boogie off for scamming his fans and faking cancer. At least that's what Keemstar claims. In reality, he wants Boogie to stay on the show because he draws in a lot of views and money for everyone, and the live stream was basically just so Keemstar could see if he could handle the backlash of keeping him on the show. And the overwhelming majority of his community told him to kick Boogie from the podcast, so he actually couldn't handle the backlash and he pretty much had no choice but to fire him, leading to absolute chaos erupting. And I'm not gonna show you the best clips of that live stream.
I have several doctors. We took my blood test. We found elevated red blood cell counts, and then we looked for other markers. We found those markers. They determined that it was certainly polycythemia, potentially polycythemia vera, and they were going to treat me as if it was polycythemia vera.
Okay, so keep what he said here in mind. Polycythemia is a type of blood disease. Polycythemia vera is the cancer version of that disease. Now, Boogie claims here that the doctors were able to determine that he has polycythemia, and that there was a real possibility that he also has polycythemia vera. Yet, they were going to treat him like he already had a confirmed polycythemia vera diagnosis. So, thankfully, Boogie finally admits that he does not have confirmed cancer. That took him long enough, and immediately that also makes every claim from now on absolutely untrustworthy, because it's now been proven he lied once. So we need to take everything this guy is saying with a massive pinch of salt here, which is also why I don't entirely believe him, because he's either lying or just a complete idiot. I mean, both options do seem plausible to me, but the treatment part just doesn't make any sense. So his doctor claims Boogie has one of two things, and instead of going through bone marrow testing to determine what he's actually suffering from, he thinks it's best to just treat him like he does have the worst option, that being cancer. Now that's definitely a completely careless waste of medical resources, and also a huge sign of incompetence on the doctor's part. Treating someone for a disease they might not even have, that's absolutely ridiculous. And also, Boogie is just an absolute sociopath if this were true, because instead of figuring out whether or not he does have cancer, He just immediately assumes that he must be suffering from it, and he's willing to pay insane cash for treatment. Now, to be fair, from an outside perspective, if I was just looking at Boogie, yeah, I think it's likely that he suffers from some kind of chronic illness, considering he has been destroying his own body for the last 30 years. But as the person being affected, wouldn't you want to know whether or not you actually had cancer? Like, if my doctor told me I might have cancer, I would try my best to get a confirmation as fast as I can, because living with not knowing whether or not I have cancer would drive me absolutely insane, especially if I had to undergo treatment in the US. Boogie has been undergoing extremely expensive treatment for something that he might not even have. He scammed his audience, he spent thousands of his own money on treatment for a disease he might not even have. That would either make Boogie the biggest idiot and waster of money in America, or just a massive liar. And also possibly both.
I'm willing to bend over backwards to show everybody how fucked up this was. In fact, right now, and I have it queued up, ready to go, regardless of whether or not you kick me off of this show, I'm donating $1,000 basically to St. Jude's. I'm pulling that trigger right now.
Boogie has to be the dumbest person in the history of YouTube. So Boogie's entire reason for scamming his audience with the Faddy Token was so that he could pay for his medical treatment, because he had no money. So he then gets $5,000 from the scam. According to him, he spends it all on medical treatment, but he now suddenly has $1,000 left over for donating to cancer research. Look, I'm not saying that donations for charity are something negative, obviously, but I am saying that it doesn't make sense for Boogie to have that kind of money to spend if he needed to scam his audience to be able to afford treatment in the first place. Like, Boogie could definitely get a lot of money through just selling his house, downsizing, or auctioning off his insane video game collection, as well as his arcade machines. Like, he could save so much money just through that, but he's financially irresponsible because he spent all of his money on hookers, food, and video games, which is why he finds himself in the situation that he's now in. But despite all that, he still has money left to donate? That doesn't seem plausible to me at all, which makes this so much funnier for me to think about. Like, Boogie said he needed to scam his audience to get money to be able to get medical treatment, but not only does he probably not have cancer so he doesn't need treatment, but he also probably has enough money to be able to at least partially afford it on his own. Thinking about that actually makes me kind of mad, because that means he just stole it all from his audience, because he's a manipulative and greedy person.
And at one point Boogie says, and I swear to God this happened, he goes, "I can't believe I'm praying I might have cancer."
Yeah.
Why do you want to be a fucking victim so bad? Like, that is so fucking insane. That came out of your mouth.
Because when we get these tests done, I deserve to have it up my ass. I deserve to have it in my fucking brain. I deserve to have fucking cancer.
This is textbook Boogie, by the way, the most two-faced person on YouTube. He's now saying he's wishing he actually had cancer because he deserves it, but the actual reason he wants to have cancer is so that people have sympathy for him again. Then he can say he had cancer all along and that people were just out to get him because they hate him for being fat or whatever his excuse is this time. Like, Boogie should just be glad that he doesn't actually suffer from cancer, and it's absolutely extremely disrespectful for him to say that he wishes to have cancer when there's people watching him that have lost loved ones through cancer. It is a huge punch in the face for anyone fighting cancer right now, and anyone that has friends or family who are fighting for their lives at this very moment. I can't actually believe that he's sitting there so casually just saying that. Like, Boogie should be praying he doesn't have cancer, but he's just too far gone. He's just too much of a sociopath to even think about that.
Yeah, it's a really fun position to find myself in, that I am going to go down in history as having faked cancer and then still might die of cancer.
To be fair, that's somewhat of an interesting point. Since Boogie hasn't gotten an official diagnosis yet, it is still possible for him to actually have cancer like he said. I mean, he still would be in the wrong here because he told everyone he has cancer when he actually didn't know, but it would be kind of ironic if he actually had it through sheer luck or bad luck, depending on how you look at it. To be honest, looking at Boogie and his health habits, it is not even that unlikely that he actually has cancer. But of course, despite him being a horrible human being, I am still not wishing for him to have the disease. But it would definitely be an interesting turn of events. But to be honest, there is also a world where I could understand undergoing treatment for cancer, despite you being unsure whether or not you actually have it. If you lived in a country with a decent healthcare system, that is, where insurance companies cover treatment costs, then it would be like preemptive if there was a decent possibility of people actually having cancer. But the problem here is that Boogie has to pay insane amounts of cash in order to afford this alleged treatment, yet he doesn't even know if he actually has cancer. For me, that all but confirms that he's most likely lying.
Doctors have told me that this is life and death now.
Really, Boogie? If this was life and death, then you'd lose weight and you would have gotten shape if it was...
I'm down. I'm down 24 pounds in 6 months.
And that doesn't fucking matter because 2 years ago you found this out and you gained weight in that time. So come on.
I really despise Keemstar, but I gotta give it to him. He absolutely cooked Boogie here. I mean, it's straight facts. If this was actually a life or death situation like Boogie claims it is, then why doesn't Boogie do anything to try and reduce his risk of dying from cancer? Like, this guy's drinking 3 liters of Mountain Dew every single day, yet he's out here claiming he's on a weight loss journey and fighting against cancer. Boogie has been on a weight loss journey for 30 years now. I mean, since the cancer diagnosis, like Keemstar pointed out, he somehow gained weight. Like, how do you weigh 500 pounds and gain weight? That is absolutely insane. This is why I absolutely have no sympathy for the guy, which ironically is the only thing Boogie actually wants from his audience. So no, this is absolutely not a life or death situation. The real life or death situation would be that he will most likely die if he keeps on living like a pig for another 5 years. Cause he has now been morbidly obese all his life by now, and this guy is such a manipulative liar that he's trying to make it about cancer when really the life or death situation should be about him and his health habits.
You're fired. You have to be fired. Like, you are fired. You are fired. You have to be kicked off this fucking show. This is crazy. This is so fucking bad. And I have sympathy for you. I actually do. And I know a lot of people don't. They want you dead. But I do, because I understand how complex this is. I truly do. But like, this is so fucking bad. I don't even have other words than just bad. And I know that you're not evil. I know you're just fucking, I don't even have a better word for this. You're retarded. You're retarded.
Okay, so big plot twist, Boogie2988 actually gets fired from his main source of income, that being his podcast, for actually faking cancer. Finally, something being said in this confrontation that I actually approve of. He pretends to be calm and accept this now, but he's melting down later, don't worry, because this is not the real Boogie that you're seeing right now. This is fake nice guy Boogie. The real Boogie, well, we will get to him later. So this will actually harm Boogie's income a lot, which is great, because maybe it will lead to him actually selling his ridiculously large house and his 200 arcade machines, or even better, it will maybe force him to get an actual job. Well, that is if he doesn't purposely gain more weight in order to count as disabled and be unable to work, like in that one Simpsons episode.
I'm not suicide baiting or anything like that. I'm no longer suicidal, and I never will be again in this life, I don't think, but it's been very hard to live with this.
Now we are gonna get back to this clip because this is gonna get very interesting, so just keep that one in mind for now.
Right? I don't have the full confirmation, but we are treating it. We've been treating it for 2 years. I've been told for 2 years that I have it, and that's why we're treating it. And I don't understand where the lie is, other than to say I most likely have it instead of saying I have it. That's it. That's the difference. I should have said I most likely have it, not that I certainly have it.
Yes!
This is gonna be such a classic Boogie manipulation moment a few years down the line. Even Keemstar is falling for it. Boogie is distracting from the fact that he just told a massive lie here by confessing to another lie. So he finally admits that he shouldn't have definitely stated that he has cancer, when in fact he had no way of knowing that at the time. But he also lies in the same sentence when he's saying he's been told he has cancer. Cause fun fact, he himself admitted before that his doctor said he wasn't sure whether or not Boogie had the regular or the cancer version of polycythemia. So Boogie has been caught in yet another lie. However, Keemstar unfortunately does not catch on in this moment.
I've prayed a lot in this last week, and it's not been helping. But I think if I do some good works, it might.
What do you mean you pray to God? You're not religious?
Yeah, I told you a year ago. I found God again. Me and God talk every day. I've told you this.
So now Boogie is going down the redemption through Jesus Christ arc like the Deep from The Boys. I'm relatively positive that he's attempting to redeem himself through religion. Kind of like Andrew Tate did with Islam, because the religious communities are incredibly forgiving. Through their system of forgiving sins, they basically accept anyone into their community, especially with Christianity and Islam. So I'm thinking this might be the strategy Boogie is going for, just pretending to suddenly have a spiritual awakening in order to try and get forgiveness for his quote-unquote sins. But I honestly don't think that this is something that would really work for him, because not a lot of people are stupid enough to give this guy another shot at redemption, because he's just done too many unforgivable things at this point in my opinion. And even if certain religious people on the internet do accept him and forgive him, I don't think the wider YouTube audience ever will. Like Boogie said himself, he will now be forever remembered in the YouTube history as someone who scammed his audience and faked cancer. And I don't believe he's ever gonna overcome that reputation no matter what he decides to do now. And also there's no way Boogie actually believes in anything he's saying here. Like Boogie is definitely way too narcissistic to have quote unquote conversations with God and Jesus. If anything, Boogie is probably talking to himself and referring to these monologues in front of his mirror as talks with Jesus.
We all agreed that Boogie should donate directly or buy a Medicare hat and shill his merch for him, because unlike Boogie, Medicare actually has cancer.
I will buy a Medicare merch hat right now.
You should.
I'm going to right now.
You should.
This is another clip that just proves Boogie definitely doesn't have the type of money problems he claims he has. So short background information for this clip. Mr. Medicare is another YouTuber that does verifiably suffer from cancer, because he showed his medical records to the public, which had zero negative impact by the way, and yet Boogie still refuses to show his. Anyway, Keemstar is basically saying, Boogie, you should buy a hat from this guy's merch store in order to financially support a YouTuber who is actually suffering from cancer. And Boogie instantly just is willing to do it. Like, a hat from this guy's merch store is around $40 with shipping, yet Boogie is just immediately willing to spend the money without a second thought. No person that actually has less than 5k in their bank account would be willing to spend money this recklessly. Alright, so these were the highlights of Boogie getting fired. Well, lowlights, I should rather say. And now we'll watch the meltdown as Destiny and some ordinary gamers decide to join the call and call out Boogie for his manipulation. This is where the real Boogie comes out. No more Mr. Nice Guy, no more being overly friendly, overly apologetic, but actually the real toxic Boogie.
In the video, I was told by my doctor that I have polycythemia vera, and we're treating you for polycythemia vera.
He might have uttered those words, maybe. He might, I know, I'm sure he said polycythemia, maybe. And he might have even said polycythemia vera. He never told you that you had cancer, though.
That's fair. That's true. I had to Google that.
Okay, yes. Which is what we thought.
God.
That's what we thought in the beginning. He probably told you that you have an elevation, everything. You have polycythemia. You probably Googled that.
I cannot believe this has taken him so long to admit. He finally confesses that in fact his doctor never told him he had cancer. So in this clip I showed you earlier,
I've been told for 2 years that I have it, and that's why we're treating it.
he said his doctor told him he had cancer, yet now he finally admits that his doctor never actually said that to him. Now say what you want about Boogie, regardless of what your opinion is about the situation, no matter how you look at this, it is clear cut 100% a lie. It's a blatant contradiction, and it's exactly why I feel extremely comfortable saying Boogie2988 did in fact lie about cancer. Because by his own admission, no one ever told him he had cancer, yet he decided to make a video telling everyone he just received a cancer diagnosis. This is the exact moment in the stream where Boogie loses even the last shred of credibility he had. Because not only did he contradict previous statements in the stream, but he also contradicted his own apology tweet.
You're such a you're a horrible human being, okay? You're a horrible person.
Fuck yourself.
No, you're a bad person. You're a horrible, abusive,
fireman in a
manipulative person.
goddamn Trump office, okay? I'm sorry that I didn't make the choice of fucking no, I'm
Boogie,
sorry.
it would take
so mad like this.
Smear
keep
me.
going.
I
Keep
fucking
going.
smear you.
Keep going.
You mocked a man.
You can smear me. I did. Listen,
No, you
and
listen, you
20
listen,
volunteer
you listen,
firemen wouldn't be
you
able to put out
listen,
the fire that
you
is
listen.
your
I
life
might
right
be
now,
a piece of
Boogie.
shit. You listen. I might be a piece of shit. My
Yeah,
dad,
tell
who
me.
died of cancer, also was a fucking volunteer fireman, by the way.
So this is essentially what the stream deteriorates to around the 1 hour 30 mark. That's when the real Boogie shows himself and just starts screaming at everyone and everything. To be honest, it's pretty difficult to even follow the conversation at this point and watch the live stream going forward, but there were still some interesting parts in it nevertheless, which is why I'll go through it until the end. But I just want to quickly point out to everyone that what you just saw, that is the actual Boogie. The soft-spoken calm Boogie you see on YouTube, that's a fake persona he himself created.
Listen, the only way you're ever going to be able to settle this is at some point you're going to have to release the medical records. You're
That's
going
never
to,
happened.
but
That's
you're
never
going
happened.
to, because
It's never happened.
and look
Fuck
look
you.
at everything
Fuck
that's
you.
happened because
Fuck
you haven't.
you. Fuck you.
Look at
Fuck
everything.
you. Fuck you.
You're already fired from the show. You're already gone. I don't care, Boogie. I'm telling you, man to man, that's the
It'll
only
never
way.
happen. It'll never happen. I said 2 years ago I won't, and I fucking won't today, and that's just fucking how it is. This is my goddamn medical records. This is my goddamn medical charts. The day Muta releases his on Twitter, and the day that Destiny releases his on Twitter, including all that shit that I don't want in there,
then maybe I'll consider it.
I absolutely cannot believe that this is the hill Boogie's gonna die on after all this time. After all of the countless lies having been exposed, he still holds on to his medical records. He still refuses to share them because he wants quote-unquote privacy. Boogie's entire life is on the internet. He has zero privacy. That is such a massive cope. The only reason Boogie refuses to show his medical records is because they would confirm that he is a lying, manipulative piece of trash. I don't even want to see the medical records anymore because for me it's already confirmed that he's lying. But the fact that he refuses to share these records and then also proceeds to use them as an argument as to why he's innocent, that is pissing me off so bad. You actually can't imagine how angry I'm getting just listening to this blob of a man try and talk his way out of this. And by the way, I would even be willing to show my medical records. I don't understand what reason he would even have to keep it private, even if he wasn't lying.
Hey, I don't self-harm. I don't self-harm.
Whoa.
Okay, well, that was what my joke was going to be. I was going to any more than stuffing your mouth full with a cheeseburger. Like, that's what I was going to say. But yeah, if you want to say, yeah.
It is self-harm, motherfucker. That's why people like to do this. It is a form of self-harm, motherfucker. That's why we do it. If you see a 400-pound man, if you see a 400-pound woman, guess what? They do it because they're self-harming, because there's something wrong in their fucking brains. I'm not talking about if you're a little bit fat like Muta carrying around an extra 20 pounds or whatever. Okay, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the people that eat themselves to fucking death. We do it because something's wrong, dipshit.
I absolutely am completely done with this guy. Boogie might be actually the worst person I've ever made a video on this channel. I cannot believe he's still sitting here telling everyone that he's depressed and suicidal, which is why he eats himself to death as a form of self-harm. That is one of the dumbest statements I have ever heard in my entire life of watching commentary. Now, there are a lot of addictions where the addicted person isn't enjoying whatever they're addicted to anymore. Like gambling, for instance. No hardcore gambling addict losing all his money on slot machines actually enjoys it. Or for instance, an alcoholic who downs a bottle of vodka every single morning also wouldn't enjoy the process of doing that. They feel like they have to because they're addicted. Now, Boogie, on the other hand, he's addicted to food, something we all consume every single day. Now, it is truly one of the hardest addictions to beat, because unlike alcohol, nicotine, or gambling, you need food to survive. However, it is simultaneously one of the easiest addictions to beat, because you can still consume food every single day just in moderation and with slightly healthier options. The only reason Boogie eats himself to death is because he cannot control himself. He enjoys the taste of Whoppers and onion rings so much that he cannot stop himself from eating more than he should. He gets 5 liters of Mountain Dew delivered to his house every single day for that exact reason. He just enjoys the taste of it too much. He's not eating because he's eating himself to death. He's just eating because he can't consume in moderation and he loves it. It's not a form of self-harm. It's more of Boogie thinking, well, I have 4 million subs on YouTube, I deserve to eat free pizzas tonight. The fact that he's claiming that he's self-harming by drinking Mountain Dew every single day is just a completely disrespectful statement to anyone that has struggled with actual self-harm before. Exactly like the last clip I'm now gonna show you.
He's like, I've got this cancer, bro. Now I can fucking make tons of views, and I can fucking.
But like, imagine like after googling it.
Do not do anything with that knife. No. No.
No, he wants me to. He told me to, right?
No.
Oh, this is so much better than eating a sandwich
right now.
So much better than eating a sandwich, Destiny.
Put that away right
You
now.
fucking piece of shit.
Okay. All right. No.
So that's how the stream ends. Boogie threatening to harm himself with a butter knife because Destiny called him out on his bullshit victim mentality and terrible take on self-harm. Yeah, I'm gonna just comment on this briefly. If you ever feel bad about yourself in life, just think to yourself, at least I am not Boogie. Because Boogie might just be remembered in history as one of the worst, fakest, most manipulative people who ever existed on YouTube. I am so done with this guy. Usually I give the person I'm talking about in my videos a little bit of advice on what they should do to improve their situation, but with Boogie, he just needs to leave the internet. He's in a call with 2 other horrible people and somehow he manages to be by far the worst of them. It is honestly impressive how pathetic and terrible the real Boogie actually is.
I'm not suicide baiting or anything like that. I'm no longer suicidal, and I never will be again in this life, I don't think.